Harsha was born in 590 AD and died in 647 AD. He was the son of Prabhakaryavardhana, who was the king of Stanaviswara, which is in eastern Punjab, and Yashomati. When the throne was thrust upon him, King Harsh was young. Therefore, he became a regent and later accepted his leadership position. Once his place in the kingdom was secure, he claimed his throne and transferred the city to Konj. King Harsha ruled from 606 AD to 647 AD. His marital status is still not definite. One account states that he married a Himalayan princess named Durga, but this is disputed and not certain. King Harsha's empire spanned most of northern India. He started with part of Punjab and ended up ruling a much larger portion of the area. King Harsha had two main objectives at the beginning of his reign. One was to get revenge for his brother's death. His second objective was to prove his authority and ability to the other kings who did not believe he deserved his position and did not have the capacity to rule. One of King Harsha's main goals was to achieve Maharaja Dhirjara, or King of the Kings. Because his original empire was so small, it became necessary for him to conquest other lands. He made many attempts to increase the size of his empire. Because he had such a strong control of Konj, that became the capital. King Harsh basically tried to expand in all directions. At that time, India was loosely divided into 5 sections: Northern India, Eastern India, Western India, Southern India, and Central India, and King Harsh attempted to place his foot figuratively in each of the sections. In the times when King Harsha was a ruler, the entire kingdom's power was given to the king. This included military power, political power, and religious power. The king's main duties were executive in nature, as opposed to legislative. When King Harsha inherited the kingdom, it was under many different types of rule. Therefore, one of his first roles was to form some sort of loose hegemony in an attempt to make each of the kingdoms on the same playing field. Dharma, which means to sustain or to uphold, played a large role in the king's ruling methodologies. Dharma was the natural law for inanimate objects and natural phenomenon, an ethical and social standard of behavior for people, and as far as the political scientist is concerned, a code for kingly duties for the king. King Harsha's kingdom was full of educated and scholarly people. The education was not only limited to military strategies and other such practical knowledge. Rather, the free flow of ideas was encouraged, as well as other types of learning. When Swan Singh, one of Harsha's court writers, visited, he was able to accumulate Buddhist learning, which included religious studies, grammar, logic, epistemology, and certain sciences. Economic activity within his kingdom was also a key part of King Harsha's administration. Because of his widespread kingdom and its constant changes, it had the opportunity to be seriously interrupted. However, this did not happen. The economic activity could have been further enhanced had the resources been mobilized to various parts of the empire. Taxes, according to Swan Singh, were light, as were tolls for tradesmen at ferries and barter stations. Many attempted to even use the Ganga River as a highway for transportation. This implies the sense of commercial centers all along the Ganga River. King Harsh died in 647 AD after ruling for 41 years. Because King Harsh did not leave any heirs to the throne, the kingdom dismantled into its original smaller states after he died. Because there is not very much nor very clear documentation of this era, we all know for sure that the empire broke apart, but not much else. Most historians think that the Huns began to invade after Harsha's death. A Tibetan book, the White Annals, recollects post-King Harsh time. Harsh sent an envoy to the Chinese emperor, who in turn sent a Chinese one with a convoy of 30 horsemen. When they reached India, they found that Harsha was dead and his minister Arjun had usurped the throne. Arjun is said to have been persecuting the Buddhists and attacking the envoy that had to flee to Tibet. The Tibetan king decided to avenge the insult to the Chinese emperor and sent the envoy back with an army that finally managed to defeat and take Arjun and his family as prisoners and sent them back as prisoners to the Chinese emperor. Historians have not yet managed to unravel what facts were from these meager accounts. There are two difficulties when figuring out what religion King Harsha associated himself with. The first question that has to be asked is, at what part of his life did he embrace religion? The second question is, how much was religion engraved into his life? At the height of his glory, King Harsh was a Buddhist. He was raised to be a follower of the sun, but after his sister converted to Buddhism, he had a more positive outlook of it. King Harsha's religious views and life are known through his court writer Yuan Shuang, a fellow Buddhist and must always be taken with caution. Yuan Shuang visited King Harsh in 630 AD, prior to which King Harsha had converted to Buddhism. King Harsh is compared to Ashoka and seen as much less into Buddhism because of the simple fact that Ashoka was disgusted with welfare and decided to lead a thoroughly peaceful life after seeing for himself what horrors war brings on the people. Harsh, on the other hand, waged wars in all directions, but continued to do so during the major part of his career. According to Bana, King Harsh's other court writer, Harsh was not born into a Buddhist family. His forefathers worshipped the sun, and other members of his family were devotees of Lord Shiva. Even after King Harsh converted to Buddhism, he continued to honor the Brahmanical deities like Shiva or Aditya, the sun. The real question then is, why did King Harsha choose to convert to Buddhism? Most scholars can agree that the conversion was caused by two factors. The deaths of his father, brother, and sister's husband caused him to have a great deal of emotion and created a sense of duty within him. When he was wandering the Vidya forest, he met a sage named Devagaramitra, who had also converted from Brahmanism to Buddhism. A potential second cause is in relation to the Kaunj assembly. King Harsha sent a special order throughout his kingdom in an attempt to join various thinkers and leaders. All of these people were of different backgrounds. The main purpose of the assembly was to investigate the treaty of the Master of the Law of China. The rites performed at the beginning of this assembly were ones followed by the Mahayana school of thought, which was closely related to Brahmanism. He washed the idol at the altar and then himself took it to the western tower and offered it several silk garments studded with pearls. He then sat as the president of the assembly and opened up discussion to the attendees. The integration of Buddhist and non-Buddhist practices that King Harsha displays throughout his life suggests that as he embraced Buddhism towards the latter part of his life, but he did not address it in the earlier part. King Harsha's political goals focused around developing sovereignty and unity amongst the entire country. Realistically, he was only able to extend his empire to the Narmada River in the southwest and Odisha in the southeast. King Harsha's advancements and accomplishments occur in many respects during his life, including social welfare, arts, and religion. King Harsha was born into a family that prayed to the sun. However, in his later life, he was very accepting of other religions, even if they seemed contradictory. His sister's conversion to Buddhism led him to have a more positive and optimistic outlook about the thought process. It is unknown exactly